Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another TBR jar video. Hi guys, welcome to another, that's not my intro, okay, hold on. So boom, this is my TBR jar. Did I add any more prompts since last month? No. Did I even get to my TBR last month? Not really. I think I might have read like 2 books off my TBR last month. But am I gonna do this video again? Yeah, because it was fun. So, you know the drill. This is my TBR jar. I'm just going to pick a prompt. I haven't been reading as much, so I'm probably only going to pick like 4 or 5 because I haven't really been reading that fast this month. Last month, I feel like I started a ton of books and I only finished like 4, which is fine. But 2 months ago in September, I read like 17 books, and I feel like since then, I've been kind of not in a slump, but like slowing down. Also, I've just been picking up some good books that I kind of just been wanting to take my time on. So that's a vibe. I'm happy with the 4 books I read last month. It's just I usually read a bit more, so hopefully I can read like 6 this month. So maybe I'll pick like 4 or 5 because I am a heavy mood reader. So yeah, let's start. I haven't added any more prompts, but let's see what we get. I know what books I want to read this month. Like, I know what books I want to read. So hopefully the prompts I pull correlate with those books because there's a lot of books that I really want to pick up this month. So with that being said, let's pick our first prompt. So prompt number 1, blind pick. Don't really know how I'm gonna go about this because I can see the book right behind me, so I'm just gonna cover my eyes and just pick a book. This kind of makes me nervous. I know I have basically my fall TBR on top, so I could honestly choose from any of this top row, or I could choose like something on the second row. I think I'm gonna just go for something up here, and I'm gonna go with, I'm scared, this one. Oh my god, I got Powerless. This was one I really wanted to get this month. It's crazy how that works. But Powerless, I definitely wanted to read this month. I have had this book for a few months now. It was a gift, and I've been wanting to read it. I want to get to this whole series this month. Don't know if I can do that, but I do have the whole series on my TBR. I will definitely be picking this up this month. I'm actually so excited for this book. I've been waiting for fall just to pick it up and feel the like intense fantasy, cozy vibes, you know? So I'm actually so excited to read this. It's gonna get done. It has to get done because I've been wanting to read this forever, and I feel like November is like the most perfect time ever on the planet in the world. Have to get to this. I'm actually so happy with that. Our second prompt, let's see, a book with a number in the title. So for this one, I'm gonna go ahead and do 1,000 Broken Pieces. This was on my TBR for last month as well, but I started it, as you can see, but I haven't finished it. Guys, I love this book so much. I already know it's gonna be a 5-star. I'm like this much of the way through it, but because it was on my last month's TBR and I'm still so invested and I still love everything about it, I'm gonna roll it over to this month. It's just, I love this book and I loved 1,000 Boy Kisses, and I just don't want this to be over, which is why I've been taking my time heavy on reading this book. But hopefully I will be finishing it this month. But I'm gonna go ahead and choose this so I can finish it because I love it and I'm not gonna stop. So 1,000 Broken Pieces for a book with a number in the title. This is number 3 already. A paperback book. Which is crazy because all the books I'm gonna read are kind of hardcover. I do have The Maid, which is kind of, I've heard like The Housemaid, but like different. I've read The Housemaid, I haven't read this. So this is an option as well as this book. This is Little White Lies by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I read The Naturals by her. I've heard about this one. Haven't read it though, but I have it. So this is also an option. Last month on my TBR was One Dark Window that I also didn't get to, but it was a book club read and they said it was so good. So I kind of want to roll this over as well. So I honestly think I think I'm gonna go with The Maid, honestly, just because this is the vibe I'm feeling right now. Plus it's like a shorter read, so it's not gonna take me forever to read. But I also just want to see how similar it is to like The Housemaid, because that's what it's compared to. So I think I'm gonna choose The Maid for the paperback. Perfect. Easy. You go back right there. And then you go back right there. Perfect. That's 3 books. We'll do like 2 more. Okay. A book that has been on your TBR for over a year. For over a year on my TBR? A year is a long time. I honestly don't even know. I don't think I've had a book on my TBR for over a year. Let's see. Or like for the longest time. Ooh, a good one. Can you still see my hello? Thank you. Can you still see my car? I think a good one is The Nightingale by Christian Hannah. I've already read this book, but I would love to reread it. I read this book so long ago, and I've been meaning to reread it for a long time. The only thing about this book is she a chunky book, okay? Kristen Hannah did not come to play, but I want to read it. Like, I really do. And I love that everyone's been getting into their Kristen Hannah bag. Like, everybody's been reading her, discovering her. And I feel like I've been sitting here the whole time like, yep, Kristen Hannah's that girl. But maybe The Nightingale? I feel like this is the only option I have, really. So we're gonna have to go with The Nightingale. Which makes me a little nervous because this is a big book. This is a big book. But I feel like I can do it. Like, it's fine. It's fine. We're gonna go with The Nightingale for this one. So because that book is so hefty, I'm just gonna choose one more because, as mentioned before, I am a heavy mood reader and I'm gonna want to read other books. I already have other books beside me that are gonna be on my TBR as well. So we're only gonna choose one more prompt. And we're gonna go with this one. A hardcover book. Let's see. A hardcover book. A hardcover book. I kind of want to do the women, but we already have a Kristen Hannah book, and this book is also chunky as well. We have. I forgot about You Guys on here. I'm gonna go with The Wedding People. I've been wanting to read this since it dropped, and I haven't, and I had it. Obviously, it's been on my TBR for a few months now, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go with The Wedding People because I want to. So those are all the books I'm gonna choose. These are, excuse me, I burped. These are kind of hefty books. So those are the prompts I'm gonna pick for now. Maybe I'll end up reading a little more this month than I did last month, but last month I didn't read that much, so I'm not gonna choose too many books for this month, especially because I already have books that I want to get to other than the ones I chose. So I'm gonna show you my whole TBR as of right now. We're gonna start with the books that I didn't pull but that I'm gonna be reading this month. So I think I showed this in last month's TBR video as well, Divine Rivals. I'm annotating this for someone and I do want to finish it this month, so I'm going to try and do that. I'm not very far into it because I've been annotating it so heavily. We're about this much of the way through, but I do want to focus heavy on this month. So if you haven't read Divine Rivals, it's basically about this girl and there's this war happening and she goes basically to write and report news at the war, but also in her past before that's her official job, she works at the paper in her city or town, and then she has like this competition and he follows her basically to war and they end up writing together and basically being partners. Yeah, there's a tad bit of romance. It's a fantasy book, maybe romantic if you will, but that's the vibe. I love this book. I've already read it. I'm rereading it so that I can annotate it and get it to someone, but that's the vibe. I love this book. If you haven't read it, you should definitely read it. That's the vibe on this book. Gotta finish that. I also want to read Legendborn this month. This is a library book, but I've heard so many good things about this book. I've never heard anything bad. Everybody loves this book, so I'm definitely going to try to get to this book. As you can see, this book is quite hefty as well. So I do want to get to this though, so that's the vibe. I'm going to read it and I'm going to see if I love it because everybody seems to love it and I want to love it too. So, Legendborn, and this is by Tracy Dion. So, want to read that, and then we have the books we pulled. So we have The Wedding People, which we pulled for a hardcover book, I believe. This book is about a girl who's basically not having the best time in life, and she goes somewhere to commit, and then she realizes that she's at a wedding, and literally everybody at the hotel she's at is there for a wedding except her. So she ends up befriending these people at the wedding, and I guess they just show her the meaning of friendship. I'm not really sure, so I'm gonna read it and find out. And then we have The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, which we pulled for a book that's been on my TBR for over a year. I've read this book already, but I've been meaning to reread it, so I guess that's what we're doing this month. This book is about the war in Paris and basically these two sisters and how they end up going through war. One sister is very outgoing and open, and she's very, I don't know how to describe it without spoiling her, but she's very outgoing, very bold, and she's basically the bold one, the one that wants to make a difference. And then you have one sister who's more to herself, and she's like, I'm gonna follow all the rules. I have a daughter, I have a husband. So it's basically about how these two sisters get through the war. Yeah, love this book. If you haven't read it, 100% you should read it. Kristen Hanna writes in a way that you'll never forget, like, these stories and these people and what was happening. And I feel like even I read this book, it had to be like 3, 4, 5 years ago, and I still know the characters. I still think about the characters. I love this book down. Okay, so we're gonna reread this one. And then we have The Maid, which we chose for a paperback book. This book I heard is similar to The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. Not sure if that's true because I haven't read this book yet, but I read that book, it had to be like over a year or so ago, so I want to see how similar they are. And yeah, that's the vibe. It's basically about a maid. I don't know if this is the same vibe as Frida McFadden because The Housemaid, if you read it, you know what I'm talking about. It's kind of chaotic in a way. I don't know if this is the same vibe, but I guess we'll see. Guess I have to read it and find out. Next we have 1,000 Broken Pieces. This one we picked for a number in the title. This is about Poppy's sister. If you read 1,000 Boy Kisses, you know who Poppy is. This book is about Savannah and how she's coping with the loss of her sister. She's basically on this trip for therapy, and she ends up meeting someone, and they end up falling in love and wanting to be together. And you kind of see them fall for each other, as well as what am I trying to say? You see them fall for each other as well as learn to cope with their grief, and you know, kind of learn to be better in a way, because they're just so closed off and sad and grieving, obviously, which is fine, but they're just learning to cope. So not only are they learning to cope, but they're learning to love each other and trust each other, and it's so sweet so far. I love everything about this book. Tilly Cole just knows how to write. You know that when she was writing these books, she wanted to touch some hearts, and she definitely did that. I'm not even halfway through this book, and I've cried at least 5 times. I love these characters like I know them. I read about these places like I'm there, like I'm literally there. So I love this book. I love Tilly Cole. I love everything about this book, and I already know it's going to be a 5-star. So I'm excited to finish it. And then our last book we have, which was a blind pick, we have Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I have not gotten to this book yet. I feel like everybody and their mom has read this book. I have not. So this is a fantasy book. Not really sure what it's about because I've been avoiding it because I want to go in blind, but I have heard it's very similar to The Hunger Games. Now, I haven't read The Hunger Games. I've watched them, haven't read them, so I'm not really going to catch all the similarities because I haven't read the Hunger Games book. I want to get around to it sometime. I just haven't yet. So I want to read Powerless, and because we have Powerless on the TBR, there's a very teeny tiny chance that we might, keyword might, get to Powerful, which is a tiny little novella in between Powerless and Reckless. So this is a tiny little novella that you read in between in the middle, and then you have Reckless, and then there's apparently another book after this. So that's why. But because Powerless is on the TBR, I'm just gonna throw it out there. There's a teeny tiny sliver of a chance we might get to these two as well if I'm just that obsessed with it. So that's the vibe. Those are all the books. I wonder if I can pick them up. Let's see. Stacking books actually makes me kind of nervous because like 9 times out of 10 I stack books and then they fall on me. So, and these are heavy. This is the whole November TBR. This is what we're working with. I hope you guys enjoyed the video because I enjoyed making it. If you liked it, you should subscribe. And if you didn't like it, you should find another video on my channel. Subscribe after that. And I'll see you guys next time I post, which will hopefully be soon. I'm gonna put these down because they're hurting me. And then I have to figure out where I'm gonna put them all because they're not going back in the cart. That's the vibe. My wrist is hurting. Let's put those over there. Bye. Okay, my camera's not focusing. I'm right here. Bye guys. I'll see you next time I post, which will hopefully be soon. Isn't she so cute? I had to take the wheels off my car because your girl was leaning. It was crazy.